And joining me on the broadcast are Dr. Anshul Avijit. He's the national spokesperson of the Congress. Also, Mr. Tuhin Sinha, who's the national spokesperson for the BJP. I want to welcome you both for joining us on the broadcast this morning. Dr. Anshul Avijit, I first want to come to you because this is seemingly becoming a trend for the Congress to raise such allegations, especially before an election or after they've lost an election. And this time around, again, the BJP is countering the Congress, saying that it is the back-to-back losses that is making you speak like this. Are you anticipating a sense of defeat before the Bihar polls that you're talking like this?
No, it's just not after the polls or, back-to-back losses. That's got nothing to do with it. The fact is that there has been somewhat of an institutional ambush by the BJP of everything that promotes democracy in this country. The institutions have been severely compromised by this government, the first and foremost being the Election Commission. It's nothing to do with it has fine officers. It's nothing to do with the Election Commission per se. It's just the fact that these institutions are being misused, completely weaponized by the BJP to remain in power. It's a charge we've been saying all along. It's not just after the Maharashtra polls. This was a severe case in point. And in this article, Rahul Gandhi ji, members of the Congress party in Maharashtra who were there on the ground have repeatedly brought out the evidence. There's a sudden spike in voters, there's bogus voting. How do you account for it? It hadn't happened in the past 5 years. And in the 6 months preceding the elections, suddenly you have an increase of 48 lakh voters. What accounts for that? Where did they suddenly come from? Why was the appointers, those who are neutral appointees or election commissioners to the state, why was that interfered with? There has been a number of charges and allegations leveled. The Election Commission hasn't come out with an answer. We've been repeatedly saying that come out, show us how this is certainly possible. What the BJP keeps saying is approach the courts. That's a very fine thing to say, right? Because the BJP believes in the process being the punishment. So you can keep approaching the courts, you can keep taking rounds of courts, but the matter will be just swept away. This is an allegation. It is a very, very serious allegation. It is an allegation against all the institutions, the sacred institutions of the state that have been compromised. It's not just the Election Commission. It is the ED, it is the income tax. Everything is weaponized for the sake of the party, the BJP, remaining in power. And that's an absolute shame. So while we keep saying that there is democracy here, there is somewhat of a hollow democracy or a less than a democracy here because the elections are not fair as they seem to be. That is the allegation we're saying. And we have an apprehension that with the forthcoming Bihar elections coming up, the pattern will be repeated.
All right. Dr. Anshul, I have a couple of points to make for all that you've said. But before that, I'm just going to give Tuhin Sinha a chance to respond to all that you've said, after which I come back to you. Tuhin, over to you.
Well, Suyesha, the defeatist rants of Rahul Gandhi is an abject surrender from Rahul Gandhi just before the Bihar elections. If you look at some of the points made by him, when he talks about a surge post 5:30, in the voting percentage, that is based on the details provided in the statutory form 17C. And this form has been monitored throughout by the representatives, by the polling agents of the candidates, by the authorized polling agents of the candidates. So at no point of time were the Congress candidates kept in the dark. If he has any evidence of Congress candidates kept in the dark, he must make it known to the public. Otherwise, this allegation simply does not hold. Now, Rahul Gandhi himself has quoted multiple different figures of the total increase in new voters. At one point of time, he mentioned 70 lakhs. At one point of time, he mentioned 90 lakhs. And now he mentions 40 lakhs. And, all of this has happened. He has mentioned 3 different figures in a span of 1 month, which only shows that he is also not clear. But where do these new voters come from? Does Rahul Gandhi, does he not want the voting list to be updated? It happens before every election. Before the Karnataka Assembly election, 16 lakh new voters were added. So it's a normal process. Of course, Rahul Gandhi sees something red in everything because he refuses to self-analyze his defeats. He's accusing Prime Minister Modi of changing the pattern, changing the process of appointment of new Chief Election Commissioner. For the first time, the leader of opposition is being taken into confidence on this matter. Does he not appreciate that? So there are multiple things I can point out. The only party in this country which has misused which has brazenly indulged in electoral malpractices is the Congress party, and this is corroborated through the 1975 judgment of the Allahabad High Court, which disqualified Indira Gandhi on the pretext, on the grounds of electoral malpractices in the previous election of 1971. They had T.N. Session, fight elections on a Congress ticket barely a year or two after he quit as chief election commissioner. So this Congress party should not lecture us on electoral propriety, on electoral integrity. We all know the true character of this Congress party.
All right.